Welcome all of you students in SCA Academy live platform. Here we start the science lectures from class 7th or CBSE or NCERT board. In this series, we conduct almost 6 lecture of the chapter that name is the heat. This is our 7th lecture of the chapter heat. In previous lecture, we discussed about the laboratory thermometer as well as the clinical thermometer. What are the differences between the clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer? What are the purpose of clinical thermometer? What are the purpose of laboratory thermometer? हमें ये जो दो थर्मामीटर्स हमने जो डिस्कस किए इन प्रीवियस लेक्चर, जस्ट रिवाइज और आई टेल व्हाई वी यूज द थर्मामीटर in previous lecture. Thermometer is a device which measure the temperature of the objects. अगर किसी ऑब्जेक्ट का हमें टेम्परेचर फाइंड आउट करना है तो हम एक डिवाइस यूज करते हैं. दैट डिवाइस इज कॉल्ड एज द क्लिनिकल थर्मामीटर एंड लैबोरेटरी थर्मामीटर. देयर वन मोर डिवाइस इज देयर, वी आल्सो डिस्कस दैट. इट्स द मैक्सिमम एंड मिनिमम टेम्परेचर. दिस इज अनदर डिवाइस. It measures the temperature. So temperature is the what? Temperature is the degree or the level of the hotness of the object. अगर मान लेते हैं कि कोई ऑब्जेक्ट अगर हॉट है, कोई ऑब्जेक्ट अगर कोल्ड है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल वी टेक a cup of tea or a cup of coffee which is hot, we know that, but how the intensity of that hot object और हॉटनेस ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट, वो कितना गर्म है. गर्म है मालूम है हमें, चाय का कप हो गया, कॉफी का कप हो गया, वो गर्म है. कितने गर्म है, अगर ये हमें फाइंड आउट करना है तो हम क्या करते हैं, उस चीज का, उस ऑब्जेक्ट का हम टेम्परेचर मेजर करते हैं. टेम्परेचर मेजर करने के लिए हमारे पास डिवाइसेस है. दैट डिवाइसेस आर ऑफ 3 टाइप्स. I already told that. One is the clinical, another one is the laboratory, third one is the maximum and minimum temperature device. What are the purpose of clinical thermometer? Is to measure the body temperature. To measure the body temperature, just only measure the body temperature, not other objects. So how we measure the temperature of the other object? By using a laboratory thermometer. We use the laboratory thermometer. Why we not use clinical thermometer to measure the another object's temperature? Because clinical thermometer are designed to measure the temperature only between 35 डिग्री सेल्सियस टू 42 डिग्री सेल्सियस. only 35 से लेके 42 तक हम मेजर कर सकते हैं बाय क्लिनिकल थर्मामीटर. इससे अगर कोई ऑब्जेक्ट हॉट है, उसका टेम्परेचर अगर ज्यादा है, तो हमें उस चीज में हम क्या यूज करेंगे, लैबोरेटरी यूज करेंगे, लैबोरेटरी थर्मोमीटर. दिस टेम्परेचर लैबोरेटरी थर्मोमीटर आर स्टार्ट फ्रॉम -10 डिग्री सेल्सियस टू 110 डिग्री सेल्सियस. यहां तक के टेम्परेचर हम मेजर कर सकते हैं बाय यूजिंग लैबोरेटरी थर्मोमीटर. अनदर इज मैक्सिमम एंड मिनिमम टेम्परेचर डिवाइस. These devices are used to measure the temperature which are related to the weather forecast. Weather forecast we know that कि आज हवामान कैसा होगा, आज टेम्परेचर कितना होगा, कल कितना होगा, परसों कितना होगा. टेम्परेचर मेजर करने के लिए, सराउंडिंग एटमॉस्फेयर का टेम्परेचर मेजर करने के लिए यूज द मैक्सिमम एंड मिनिमम टेम्परेचर. क्योंकि क्या होता है, जैसे सनराइज होगा, एट दैट टेम्परेचर इज लेस ऑफ दैट एटमॉस्फेयर. At 12 o'clock, it's a high temperature. And at the time of sunset, also there is a less temperature. So we have to measure less temperature, higher temperature, also less temperature. For that, we use the maximum and minimum temperature. These are the 3 devices are to be used to measure the temperature. We already discussed all these things. We discussed in the previous lectures. You missed that previous lectures. You go to the SCA Academy app or SCA class app. At that we now inserted all the videos are related with the heat chapter. So today our seventh lecture about the heat. In that lecture, we discuss about the line by line which are mentioned in your NCERT textbook. First of all, this page is there. Says that in addition, oh sorry, in addition to the precautions to be taken while reading a clinical thermometer, the laboratory thermometer. What are the precautions are to be taken while using the clinical thermometer as well as the laboratory thermometer? We already discussed about the clinical thermometer. What are the precautions should be taken at that time? Okay. Now we discuss only what are the precautions will we take to measure the temperature by using a laboratory thermometer. अगर हम लेबोरेटरी थर्मामीटर अगर यूज करते हैं तो उस टाइम में हमें क्या क्या प्रिकॉशंस लेने हैं. तो फर्स्ट इज दैट should be kept upright, not tilted. For example, this is our beaker. Is there some hot water? Is there water? Is there water? Is there? We use the clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometer should kept upright. In this position, we have to keep the clinical thermometer. Okay, this is the glass tube. वगैरह glass tube. Okay, we have to upright, not tilted. Means not like that. ऐसे हम नहीं रख सकते ऐसे और ऐसे. We cannot take. ऐसे हम नहीं रख सकते. It is called as the tilted. It is called as the tilted. हमें tilted नहीं रखना है as like that. Uprooted, straight line. Straight line में रखना. Second, bulb should be surrounded from all sides by the substance of which the temperature is to be measured. The bulb should not touch the surface of the container. You focus on one first thermometer, not this and not this also. You observe only the first thermometer, laboratory thermometer. This is the laboratory thermometer. Upright, it's upright position. And this bulb, mercury bulb. This is the mercury bulb. These mercury bulbs are surrounded by the water. ये मर्क्यूरी बल्ब कैसा होना चाहिए? अराउंड द और सराउंडेड बाय द वाटर होना चाहिए कि हमें उसका टेम्परेचर मेजर करना है, वाटर का टेम्परेचर मेजर करना है. इसकी वजह से कि हमें ये सराउंड में क्या होनी चाहिए? टोटली वाटर इज देयर. These mercury bulb are not attached to the container. कंटेनर को टच नहीं करना चाहिए. It's not touched to the container. Why? Because it measure the temperature of the container also. So there is a mismatch on the reading. Accurate reading हमें नहीं मिलेगी. इस वाटर का हमें टेम्परेचर मेजर करना था, उस वाटर का हमें टेम्परेचर एक्यूरेटली नहीं मिल पाएगा अगर हम उस बल्ब को कंटेनर को टच करते हैं. Should not touch to the surface of the container. So these are some precautions while you taking or while you take a reading of that object to measure the temperature of the object by using a laboratory thermometer. You should this upright होना चाहिए, straight, and these bulbs are not touched to the container. These are the two precautions we have to take. Next, note the readings. This is the temperature of water at that time. Compare the temperature of water recorded by each student in the class. You have to measure the temperature in the class. Bhujo has some doubts. Bhujo now understand why a clinical thermometer cannot be used to measure a high temperature, but still wonder whether a laboratory thermometer can be used to measure his body temperature. In that case, Bhujo wants to know, or he analyze why we not use the clinical thermometer to measure the another objects. First difference is that there is a limitation in a clinical thermometer. Which type of limitation? It can be measure the temperature from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. This is the limitation. Next, clinical thermometer is designed to measure the only body temperature and it has only kink is there. Why kink is present in a clinical thermometer? वहां पे किंक क्यों प्रेजेंट है? बिकॉज जैसे ही हम बॉडी टेम्परेचर मेजर करते हैं एंड जैसे ही हम टेम्परेचर को बिलो द टंग रखते हैं, आफ्टर दैट mercury level is increases. At that time, when we remove from the mouth, that mercury level cannot be fall down. वो mercury का लेवल नीचे नहीं आना चाहिए. It can be stop. एक जगह पे क्या होना चाहिए? स्टॉप होना चाहिए. And we take some seconds now. We take some seconds to analyze the temperature. At that time, kink is not present is there. At that time, from the surrounding atmosphere, according to the atmosphere, if the atmosphere having a 20 degrees Celsius temperature, so the mercury level is fall down. We cannot get the accurate measurement of our body temperature. For that, kink is there. In that case, we use only the clinical thermometer to measure the body temperature. Why we not use laboratory thermometer to measure the body temperature? Because there is a kink is not present. Kink is not present. Due to that, we cannot get the correct measurement of that particular object, or our body temperature cannot be measured with the help of laboratory thermometer because there is a kink is not present. Another thing is that when we study about the precautions to use the laboratory thermometer, there are two precautions. One, we have to thermometer kept like upright in our body. We can keep that thermometer upright position. After that, जैसे ही हमने लेबोरेटरी थर्मामीटर में पढ़ा, सेकंड प्रिकॉशन इज दैट कि जिसका हमें टेम्परेचर मेजर करना है वो सराउंड होना चाहिए एज बल्ब, जो क्या होना चाहिए. लेकिन इन केस ऑफ द माउथ there is some another liquid, the saliva is there. Due to that, we cannot get the correct measurement of the temperature point. Activity number 4.5. Take some hot water in a beaker or a mug. Dip the thermometer in a water. Wait till the mercury thread becomes steady and note the temperature. Now take out the thermometer from water. Observe carefully what happened now. Do you notice that as soon as you take the thermometer out of the water, the level of mercury begins to fall? This means that the temperature must be read while the thermometer is in water. For example, another, we take a water here. There is water. There is a clinical thermometer. Laboratory thermometer is there. There is a reading. This is that. Measurement the actual temperature of the water. When we deep water. मेजरमेंट लेना है. रिमूव कर दे फ्रॉम द वाटर. जैसे ही हम इसको रिमूव करेंगे, दैट मर्क्यूरी लेवल आर फॉल डाउन. दैट मर्क्यूरी लेवल आर fall down. Why it fall down? Because it is the water having a temperature is more than surrounding atmosphere. Fall down क्यों करेगा? Because इस बीकर में जो वाटर प्रेजेंट है, इसका टेम्परेचर हाई होगा. Due to that, when we dip the thermometer in a water, its mercury level is high up. It shows some reading. At that time, we collect the reading. At that time, we analyze the reading. At that time, we observe the reading. Not remove. यहां से अगर रिमूव करते हैं फ्रॉम द वाटर एंड एटमॉस्फेरिक टेम्परेचर इज लेस, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट मर्क्यूरी लेवल इज फॉल डाउन. Due to that, we have to measure the accurate temperature of a particular object. We have to deep in that object and analyze like that, not remove from that object. अगर उस ऑब्जेक्ट से हम बाहर निकालते तो हमें उस ऑब्जेक्ट का करेक्ट टेम्परेचर नहीं मिलेगा. This is the right way to measure the temperature of the other object by using a laboratory thermometer. कि हमें उस ऑब्जेक्ट से बाहर नहीं निकलना है, क्योंकि बाहर अगर निकलते तो एटमॉस्फेयर जो टेम्परेचर होगा वो एक तो कम हो सकता है या ज्यादा हो सकता है. अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस थर्मामीटर एनालाइज द एटमॉस्फेरिक टेम्परेचर आल्सो, एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट मर्क्यूरी लेवल विल फॉल डाउन और मर्क्यूरी लेवल कैन बी इंक्रीजेस. सो वी गेट द मेजरमेंट ऑफ द एटमॉस्फेरिक टेम्परेचर ओनली. वी कैन नॉट मेजर द टेम्परेचर ऑफ द वाटर, सो दैट वी हैव टू कीप इनसाइड एंड मेजर accurate measurement of the water. This terms is say that. You may recall that while taking your own temperature, you have to take the thermometer out of your mouth to note the readings. Can you then use the laboratory thermometer to measure your body temperature? उन्होंने कहा कि अगर क्लिनिकल थर्मामीटर होता है, क्लिनिकल जो हम माउथ में रखते बाहर निकालते हैं, आफ्टर दैट वी गेट द करेक्ट टेम्परेचर. हाउ इट पॉसिबल? आपने तो अभी कहा सर वहां पे तो जिस ऑब्जेक्ट का हमें टेम्परेचर लेना है उसको तो डीप करके ही रखना पड़ेगा, एंड आफ्टर दैट यू टेक द रीडिंग्स. इन विच केस इन लैबोरेटरी थर्मामीटर वी हैव टू डिस्कस अबाउट दैट. इन a clinical thermometer we don't use such concepts are mentioned in laboratory thermometer. क्लिनिकल में हमें ये क्यों नहीं करना पड़ता है? बिकॉज क्लिनिकल थर्मामीटर इट प्रेजेंट्स एज अ किंक इज देयर which stop the flow or down flow of the mercury. मर्क्यूरी का जो लेवल है वो नीचे गिरने नहीं देगा. It is the main purpose of the kink, and that kink present only in a laboratory thermometer. इसकी वजह से हम वहां पे वो जिस चीज का हम बॉडी टेम्परेचर मेजर कर रहे हैं उसको रिमूव करके भी हम रीडिंग ले सकते हैं बाय प्रेजेंस ऑफ द किंक. बट इन अ लैबोरेटरी थर्मामीटर देयर इज नो किंक, सो इट एनालाइज द एटमॉस्फेरिक टेम्परेचर आल्सो एंड ही गेट द रीडिंग ऑफ एटमॉस्फेरिक टेम्परेचर नॉट ऑफ दैट ऑब्जेक्ट ड्यू टू द एब्सेंस ऑफ किंक. ओके, नेक्स्ट. Bujo wonders why the level of mercury should change at all when the bulb of the thermometer is brought in a contact with another object. अगर किसी ऑब्जेक्ट का हम टेम्परेचर मेजर कर रहे हैं, at that time we get the reading of 20 degree Celsius, and after that we remove that thermometer from this object and take another object, and again we take the temperature reading shows the another readings on that 30 degree Celsius, 40 degree Celsius. It depend on the how the object is cold or hot. कोई ऑब्जेक्ट ठंडा है, गर्म है, अगर गर्म है तो 20 डिग्री सेल्सियस का है, उससे अगर गर्म होता है दूसरा ऑब्जेक्ट, he get the another reading for that by changing the object. अगर ऑब्जेक्ट हम चेंज कर रहे हैं तब जाके हमें डिफरेंट टाइप्स के रीडिंग्स वहां पे मिल सकते हैं by using a laboratory thermometer. Okay. Body temperature obviously is not convenient to use the laboratory thermometer for this purpose. Yes, I already tell that. Body temperature obviously is not convenient to use the laboratory thermometer for this purpose. Why does the mercury not fall or rise in a clinical thermometer when the taken out of the mouth? क्यों नहीं fall कर रहा है? नीचे क्यों नहीं आ रहा है, ऊपर क्यों नहीं जा रहा मर्क्यूरी का लेवल? Because of presence of kink is there. इसकी वजह से ये हो रहा है, kink की वजह से. Kink is present in only in a clinical thermometer. Due to that, there is no fall and also the no rise of the mercury. Observe a clinical thermometer. Again, do you see a kink? Yes, kink is there near the bulb. What is the use of the kink? It prevents the mercury level from falling on its own. Yes, I already tell that. Most important function of the kink is to fall the level of the mercury due to the presence of kink only, and that kink present only in a clinical thermometer. Due to that we can remove the thermometer from that object and we get a correct measurement. हमें correct measurement मिलता क्यों है? Due to the presence of the kink. वो mercury का level जो है वो fall होने नहीं देता है at that time. So this only tell about why use the laboratory thermometer, why use the clinical thermometer, where we use the clinical thermometer, where we use the laboratory thermometer. These concepts are to be shown Where we want to use the clinical, where we want to use the laboratory. So clinical for measuring the body temperature only. Other objects should be temperature can be measured with the help of laboratory thermometer only. The whole discussion about the clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer is a much important concept. And they ask the differentiate between the clinical and as well as the laboratory thermometer. This also I explained in a previous lecture. What is the difference between that? Okay. This is whole about the presence of the clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. Hope you understand all the concepts are related with the clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. Today's lecture we stop here only. If you have any doubt, can ask in the comment section only. Okay, thanks all of you.